Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, and today we're talking Jonathan Taylor, the current Colts running back who has had quite an offseason. He's injured, he's not injured, his back hurts, his ankle hurts. We don't know what's happening, but we do know now that he has been given permission to seek a trade to other teams. So today on the channel, we are going to be going through all 32 teams in a tier list format to see where we think Jonathan Taylor is going to play in 2023. So here we have our tier list. I will start by reading the categories and then we'll start placing the 32 teams. So in the top, I have a 0% chance teams that there's absolutely no way they make a push for Jonathan Taylor. Then we have the highly unlikely category. So there is a possibility, but it's very slim. Then we have the maybe category. I could see it happening. It may work with some pieces being moved around. And then there's the call Jim Irsay now category, teams that I believe could truly benefit from having Jonathan Taylor on their team today. So we will just go in order here, chug along. I don't think these are any order at all. The Saints have Kamara. They drafted a running back this year. They pick up Williams from the Bears. I think there's a 0% chance that the Saints make a push for Jonathan Taylor. Now, the Dolphins are interesting. They have Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson. Are any of those guys really lead backs? I don't think so. So I'm going to go and throw the Dolphins in the maybe category. The Ravens have a pretty crowded backfield with Dobbins, with Gus Edwards. They bring in Melvin Gordon. So I'm going to say it's 0% chance the Ravens make a push for Jonathan Taylor. Joe Mixon's getting older, but I think even though they let Samaje Perine walk, I do think it's highly unlikely that the Bengals make a push for Jonathan Taylor. The Broncos seem pretty happy with Javonte Williams. They bring in Samaje Perine for some pass-catching duties. I don't think it's completely out of the question that Sean Payton, makes a crazy move and gets somebody that pairs well with Wilson, but I do think it's highly unlikely. The Giants have Barkley, not going to happen. The Vikings, I think, are an interesting team. I'm going to throw them in the maybe. They let Cook go, so do I think they're going to bring in somebody like Jonathan Taylor, who is going to be another pretty big price tag to pay in the future? They seem to be happy with Madison. I'm going to give it a maybe. I think there's a way that it happens, but it is not something I'm seeing immediately. Call me crazy, but I think the Los Angeles Rams could make a legitimate push for Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, they have Cam Akers, but I have not ever been impressed with Cam Akers. Kyron Williams as the backup. I think this team is a piece away from competing. I know they're projected a pretty bad year, but I think adding Jonathan Taylor could be something that sparks this offense. So I'm going to say call Jim Irsay right now, Sean McVay. Get him on the phone. The Buccaneers have Rachaad White and Chase Edmonds. I mean, call Jim Irsay right now. Rachaad White's the guy there? I don't know. They've got Godwin. They've got Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield could make some things happen. Maybe in a weak division, all you need is a stellar running back. Okay, it wouldn't be the worst thing Tampa Bay's done. So I say call Jim Irsay right now, Tampa Bay. Lions, not going to happen. They add David Montgomery. They draft Jahmyr Gibbs. It is not a possibility. The Bears get rid of Montgomery, but they go after Deontay Foreman. They have Khalil Herbert. I think it's highly unlikely that the Bears make a push for him. I think Jonathan Taylor's price tag, again, is a little high for them. So we will go ahead and say that is not going to happen. As far as San Francisco, I think they're happy with McCaffrey and Mitchell. 0% chance Taylor goes there. The Eagles have one of the most crowded backfields in the National Football League. Not going to happen. The Raiders return the most productive running back after last season. Not going to happen. The Packers have been content with their dual-headed threat of Jones and Dillon. 0% chance they get Taylor. The Commanders have a lot of decisions to make this year between Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson, and I doubt that they bring in a third puzzle piece to add more confusion. Highly unlikely. James Conner's getting old. It seems to be sort of a rebuilding year for the Cardinals. I don't think it's out of the question, but I do think it is highly unlikely. Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren seem to be holding down the fort in Pittsburgh. I'm going to say 0% chance. James Cook, Dabian Harris, Latavius Murray. I think the Bills could really do something by adding Taylor, but does Taylor complement Josh Allen in that offense? I don't think so. I'm going to throw him on highly unlikely. It'd be a move I'd love to see, but I do not think it's realistic. Falcons just draft Bijan Robinson. By golly, if they make a push for Taylor, it would confuse the world. 0% chance. The Seahawks seem happy with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, who they drafted from UCLA this year. Pete and John always keep us on our toes, but I would say it's highly unlikely. Patriots just picked up Ezekiel Elliott to pair with Ramondre Stevenson, who had quite a year last year. I would go ahead and say 0% chance that Jonathan Taylor goes to the Patriots. Browns are happy with Nick Chubb. 0% chance he goes to the Browns. Dameon Pierce and Devin Singletary seem to be the guys in Houston. I don't think they're going to trade Jonathan Taylor within the division, so let's go ahead and say 0% chance he goes to Houston. All right, here's the deal. If Kansas City wants to make their Super Bowl odds go from plus 600 to plus 200, they'll pick up Jonathan Taylor. Pacheco looks good. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon, they have weapons. But do they have a 3-down back right now? Maybe Pacheco. I'm going to put Kansas City in the maybe category and say if that happens, watch out to the National Football League. Dallas lets Zeke walk, and they look happy with Tony Pollard. They draft Deuce Vaughn. I'm going to say 0% chance Jonathan Taylor goes to the Cowboys. The Chargers are an interesting one. Obviously, Eckler is one of the top backs in the league, but he has been in the league for quite some time. I'm going to say it's highly unlikely that they make a push for him. It's probably closer to 0% chance if we're being honest, but I'll leave options open on the table. The Jets just signed Dalvin Cook, so I think a push for Jonathan Taylor in an already star-studded offensive lineup is a 0% chance. The Panthers signed Miles Sanders this offseason. They also have Chuba Hubbard. I think it's very unlikely that they do anything regarding Jonathan Taylor. Here's the funny thing. In my gut, I think Jonathan Taylor stays in Indy this year. Truthfully, I don't think he gets traded. I think they work something out. I think this is all hype in the offseason. We need something to talk about. I think Jonathan Taylor plays for the Colts in 2023. So call yourself, Jim Irsay. I don't know. And finally, we have the Jaguars. I will say there's a 0% chance considering they take a running back in this year's draft and they have Travis Etienne. So there's your full and complete list. I think the most likely teams to land Jonathan Taylor in a trade scenario for the 2023 season are the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Chiefs, the Rams, the Buccaneers, and most likely he'll stay put in Indianapolis.